Can I start now?
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Sayyid from class 10W. So today this class will be conducted by students of grade 10. Today's topic will be Ministry of Ayub Khan from 1958 till 1969. So by the end of this topic, the students will be able to describe main events during the Ministry of Ayub Khan, explain the importance and challenges faced by Ayub Khan in his domestic and foreign policy. These are the topics we will discuss in this class. Over.
Now the topic of Ayub Khan will comprise of the following topics: constitutional, political, agriculture, industrial, social and foreign policies. But in this class, our students are going to cover few topics, that is constitutional development, political development and agricultural reforms only. So now to start off with constitutional development, it's over to the student of grade 10. Basic system of democracy. It is going to be represented by Imadullah.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum everyone, it's Imadullah Siddiqui and I'm going to be explaining system of basic democracy. Now this system was introduced on 26th October 1959 and according to this system, local council were at lowest level and people selecting members of local council through elections. Then in return, local council members will elect members of district council who in return will elect members of division council. Now, technically, this means that the country was divided into divisions, and the divisions were divided into districts. The districts were divided into cities, and the cities were divided into basic units. There were two bodies or assemblies known as PDAC or Provincial Democratic Advisory Council at federal level. For each one, there was one assembly, and there were 5 governors nominated by the president to control them. All members of the Provincial Democratic Advisory Council were also nominated by the president, as at the time the president was the highest authority. Over.
Now, Sajjad Mehdi, can you add on about the elections of the basic Democrats?
So basically, there were 4 levels between the common man and the president. It was the village council or the local council, then it was the sub-district council, then the district council, and then the division council. People would elect basic Democrats in the village councils, who in turn would elect other Democrats in the sub-district, and then in the district, and then in return in the division councils. There were 2 main benefits of this, and the main benefits of basic democracy system was that this ensured a smooth system of indirect elections, and the ordinary people or the common man could not be bribed to vote directly. This was introduced when a basic democracies order was passed in October 1959, and these basic Democrats had also formed an electoral college to elect the president and the members of the provincial and federal legislatures. So basically, the basic Democrats were completely responsible for the election of the president and the other 5 governors and the PDAC members, directly or indirectly.
So what do you mean by the term vote of confidence from basic Democrats? Like Ayub Khan got the vote of confidence from basic Democrats and he got 95% vote. So what do you understood by these lines?
Ayub Khan Ayub Khan got 95% of the votes from the Basic Democrats. That is what I comprehend from this line.
So, what is the need to ask for the vote of confidence from the Basic Democrats?
Because the Basic Democrats are directly linked to the people because people elect them. So it should be in the hands of the Basic Democrats to elect the president.
Okay, it means that he tried to show that he was not just a martial law administrator, but also he has the support of the Basic Democrats who were elected by the people directly, isn't it?
Exactly.
Okay, so now about 1962 Constitution. Over.
Now Ayub Khan was declared as the confirmed president on 17th February of 1960. On 1st March 1962, due to extreme opposition, he handed power to Yahya Khan, and the second constitution. When the second constitution was passed in 1962, after that the martial law was lifted. I'm sorry, I got a bit mixed up. At the end, Ayub Khan handed over power to Yahya Khan, and then the constitution was abrogated.
Okay, so 1962 Constitution, it was enforced by Ayub Khan and which ended the martial law in 1962, right? So, can anyone, especially Anab, Imad, Heather, anyone can tell me that one by one, like first Heather, please tell me that what is the similarity between 1962 Constitution and the 1956 Constitution? Heather. Are you available, Heather? Okay, Abdullah is here. Abdullah, can you tell me the similarity between 1962 Constitution and 1956 Constitution? Any similarity which you find? Abdullah, you can unmute yourself. Okay, over to Sajjad. If you can't see any similarity, can you tell the difference between 62 and 56 Constitution?
Sure. The difference was that in the 1962 Constitution, the word Islamic was dropped from the official name of Pakistan.
Okay. And about the language?
About the language, Bengali and Urdu both were considered as the national languages.
While in 1956?
It was only Urdu that was the national language.
Okay. Imad, can you tell me about the type of government, the difference between 62 and 56 Constitution, Imad?
Yes, ma'am. In the 1956 Constitution, the government was parliamentary type, while in the 1962 Constitution, the Constitution was presidential type.
Okay, so now you are very much clear about 1962 Constitution. Now it's over to Anna, political development.
So next are the political developments. After martial law was lifted and the Constitution of 1962 was made, elections were held in 1964 and the results would be announced in 1965. Because of that vote of confidence, Ayub thought of himself as a very popular ruler or leader and that he wouldn't have any opposition. But to his surprise, Fatma Jinnah rose up against him. Although this caused some problems for Ayub, he won the elections easily with a majority of 64% votes. After he was declared president, in the same year, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was made foreign minister. After the 1965 war, there was a ceasefire and the Tashkent Declaration, because of which Ayub faced a lot of backlash from many of the prominent members of the government. One of these people was Bhutto. Bhutto was forced to resign because of his opposition, after which Bhutto established his own political party in 1967. His party was named PPP, or Pakistan Political Party, Pakistan People's Party, sorry. Another bonus development was that the capital was changed from Karachi to Islamabad in 1967.
Okay, now this was the political development in Ayub Khan's era. So, why do you think that Fatma Jinnah, she was against Ayub Khan, although in the beginning she was supporting Ayub Khan?
In the beginning, in 1958, Pakistan really needed martial law as the country was very politically unstable. But throughout the martial law, she had seen how power hungry he was, and after his new constitution, she had also seen how presidential the type of government was, and she didn't support it. And also the people were very upset. East Pakistanis were very upset with Ayub Khan, so Fatma Jinnah sided with them.
Very good enough. Thank you so much. Now, next to the agricultural reforms by Mustafa Faraz.
In Ayub Khan's agricultural reforms, firstly in 1959, he enforced his land reforms in which he limited the size of land from 12.5 acres to 500 acres, which increased the productivity of farms and helped to break the power of landlords. Secondly, in 1960s, he introduced Maxi-Pak wheat and Eri-Pak rice, which were of good quality and they gave good results. They were high yield variety seeds, and he also introduced mechanization in agriculture. Also, his major success was that in 1960 he signed the Indus Water Treaty to finally resolve the problem of the canal water dispute, which arose from 1947, and it was a problem for Pakistan till the Indus Water Treaty was signed. Then he requested loans from other countries, and all loans were spent on the agriculture and other needs of the country's production. These policies gave his agricultural reforms the name of Green Revolution.
Thank you, Mustafa. Now, Sohail, can you tell me that how did the land reform, like limiting the size of the land, was important for the agricultural development?
Yes, the limiting the size of the land was important for the agricultural development because all the land it was in the hands of the landlords. So and not every farmer was they couldn't do it by themselves. They had to work for the landlords.
So now they were free from the threat of the landlord, isn't it?
Yes, miss.
And what do you understand by the term Green Revolution?
Yes, the Green Revolution in Pakistan, it was introduced in 1960s because of high yield varieties in Pakistan's agriculture, along with the better chemical fertilizer and tube well irrigation, and the machineries also brought by Ayub Khan. So that's why it was called Green Revolution.
Okay, thank you. So now, anything which being an attendee, I can find that all these reforms are important. So can anyone of you, like Anav, can you just summarize any of the important questions from these topics? Can you develop?
Miss, one of the questions is that were his agricultural reforms the most important in his whole ministry? And so, in my opinion, I have to say yes, because these agriculture reforms helped Pakistan's economy a lot, and they also shaped the way for Pakistan's future. And the mechanization really helped Pakistan become the agricultural country that it is now.
Okay, thank you
Uh,
all of you for participating in the discussion. It was really good that you had the revision session and you yourself was emerging as a presenter, right? So inshallah, in the next meeting, in any of the next meeting, I'm going to call you and you are going to conduct the whole lesson, because I'm quite confident that you are true with the topics and you can conduct and you can present the topic yourself. Thank you so much, all of you. Now the meeting is over.